Hello everybody, this is Lila in Hawaii. I'm making some velvet blossoms or blooms. I often see comments about them when I put them on something, and I know I've put how to on my blog years and years and years ago, but I thought I would show you in a video how I go about making them. They're quite easy and they're very pretty. You can decorate them how you like, but I'll just show you the basic. Now, here's one I've just finished, and I need to put some decoration of some sort. Usually I put some sari ribbon on at the bottom, so I would take some sari ribbon like that and maybe fold it and loop it and put it like that. Sometimes I put some tulle and seam binding, just different things. But anyway, that would be my choice for this particular one because of the color. Seems to go pretty well with that. So I'll put that aside, and I'm going to show you the basics of making one. The first thing is you need a piece of velvet. Well, these are velvet flowers. You could use fabric, of course, silk or something else. I like this. This is silk velvet, and I ripped it. And I ripped it about 1.5 inches wide. And it's about 16 inches long. You can make it as long as you like. The first thing you have to do is fold it like, I call it a concertina. So fold it. And this, the first fold is how long you would want your petals, or how big you'd want your petals. I want them fairly big. So that's, if you fold it like that, that's 3 petals. 1, 2, 3. That way is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is a lot of petals for this particular one. More than I usually do. I usually do about 5 or 6. 5. I think this would be too many, so I'm going to start again, and I'm going to fold the petals bigger so that I don't have so many. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can use silk ribbon. This is silk velvet ribbon. You can use torn fabric yardage, which is what this is. Not easy to find these days. I've had this for many years, so I'm sort of hanging on to it. But anyway, as I said, you can use any kind of fabric for the same idea. The next thing to do is to cut a shape. This is going to be where you stitch at the bottom, so you need to leave at least 3/4 of an inch, and then cut a shape like sort of like that. Maybe even it up. So basically it's sort of like a U shape. And so when you open it up, it's going to be like that. And if you see that it's not quite nicely rounded, just clip off there to round it a bit. Good. Then take a needle and thread and do a running stitch all along, and I like to do it everything gets tangled up with these because there's a lot of length and a lot of places for the needle to sort of get tangled. So anyway, not to worry. Here we go. Do a running stitch, and these are about 1/4 of an inch running stitches right along the bottom. They don't have to be even running stitches. They can be any size you want. You could do them even 1/2 an inch if you like. So 1/4 to 1/2 an inch is good, or about 1 centimeter. And I always do my running stitches by pushing it against my index thing. Not my index, my middle finger. Certain things I do use the index finger, but not this one. I'm sort of drawing it up a little bit as I go. So I'm coming down, not too far now. See, I'm pulling it up as I go. Almost done. Okay, so I'm right to the end, and I'm going to join those two ends together. So I'm going to join that one onto that one. It's a little bit hard to get through this velvet. It's a thick velvet. Okay, so I've pulled it up like that. Now I'm going to fasten it off at the back. And most of this can be done with glue. After you've gathered it up, you can use hot glue or tacky glue or whatever you like. But when you've got a needle and thread already attached, you may as well do what you can with it. So there I've got it drawn up. There's the shape of the flower. Now I'm going to put a center in it, and I've still got the same thread attached. So I'm going to find probably, going to look for something that I think would go. These are my pearls, and I tend to like pearls for the center of flowers. They go pretty well. There are a few things here that aren't pearls. I think I like that color, which is kind of a pinky color. Not too big. Uh-oh. Well, it flew away. I don't know where that went. It rolled away somewhere. Okay, so here we go. So it's all the one thread still attached, and I'm just sewing a center on it. And I'm just going to sew through there again. I'll show you how I would do a leaf too. And it's a corsage or whatever you want. I may not be able to sew with the same thread, sew the leaf on because I'm running out of thread on this. I may have to show you how I glue it. No problem. Sometimes that's easier, really. You sort of place them better when they're glued. When you're sewing them on, you can only sort of sew them where they get sewn. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off. I do have another needle threaded up. Okay, so that's that. Now, you can hit it with a heat gun, and if it's silk, it will kill it a little bit, and you can do that afterwards. So the next thing to do is to make a leaf, and I use some green felt that I had. Oh, there it is now. And I've gone ahead and I've backed it with some other green silk that I've painted, so it's kind of stiff. And to make my kind of leaf, I just cut out sort of a rough leaf shape. That's the top of the leaf, and then I make what I call little divots. So what you do is you go like that, 1, 2, 3 cuts on the sides, and sort of snip off. I don't know why I'm using big scissors. So I'm just snipping off little bits of that divot, And then I'm going to the other side. And I turn it over to do the other side. 2, 3. And snip off in the little divots. And you can make these any shape you want, of course. So there's the leaf. Now, to make it have a vein down the center, I often stitch it on the sewing machine, and that's up to you, up to the look you like, but I often will stitch right down the center, and I happen to have black thread, so it's okay though. So there we go, there's the leaf. That's one leaf, and usually on these flowers I put either one leaf or I put 2 leaves. It just depends. And something as big as this, which is quite big, I think I'd probably go with 2 leaves. So this is what I do again. Just a kind of a basic leaf shape. Use smaller scissors. Okay, so this, where I snip off that's the bottom. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. I snip off the divots just a little bit. Seems to be easier with the bigger scissors actually. And then I'll turn it over and do the other side. So I'll get that done. I think I'll snip it as I go. There we go. Another one. And you can make the little cut on the lower edge of that divot or the upper edge. I did it on the upper edge. So there's my second leaf. And the next thing to do is to stitch it down the middle. And often I'll press it on the sewing machine to press that crease in it. Not going to take time to do that. Okay, so here we go. So now I've got the 2 leaves. And I've got this. And I am going to hit this with the heat gun. It'll make it a little smaller, and it'll make it curl a little bit. I'm not going to take time to do that, mainly because I don't have the heat gun handy. So that would go there, and I would take some of my trusty glue, and I'm going to glue it here. Glue it on the back. Plenty of glue. And I've got to make sure that the leaves are going to show, so I want it to show, but just a little like that. That's like that. So I'll cut the leaves, put the leaves like that. There. And now the next thing I might do is actually, I'm going to cut these a little smaller. Just cutting them smaller. I could cut them any shape I wanted. Sometimes I cut them into a different petal shape. Anyway. So there they are with the little leaves, and I put the leaves just to where they're peeking out, not too obvious. Then the last thing to do for something like this is to find a piece of Guess what that is? That is sari ribbon. Okay, so I need some sari ribbon that I think would go with that. And because it's sort of, this is, I don't know if you can see, this is a coppery brown color. So I'll look for some sari ribbon that goes with that. I don't mind if it's got a different color on it too. There's two. Those are good. I need one other piece. You can probably tell I've used this a lot, so it's getting down to the wire in some respects. Okay. So if I did that, I could gather those up together, and often I'll put it like that. Sometimes, you know, I may make a loop out of one. But the first thing I do is I just stitch it across. As I said, you could stitch it, you can glue it, and after it's all done, I do put a piece of felt on the back just to cover it all up. You see where I am here. Okay, so this is the way this is going to be. So here's the back. There's the loop. Sometimes I do two loops. There's the sari ribbons. The two leaves are there. Then afterwards I'll cut a little circle of felt and put it there, which I think is kind of nice. Sorry, I had to move the camera. Okay, so there we have it. So that one I'm just going to set over here. And I'll just show you a couple of ideas of how I might use them. I'm making some boxes, and this is going to be a bonbon box. Now I could put a flower, one of these velvet flowers on top, and I intend to put an image on this, so I put the image on first and maybe some other lace or trims, and then this could just nestle on top, or I could put inside, which I've done many times too. That works rather nicely. So that's just one idea of how to use them. Another idea would be, this is another box I'm making. So I'm going to decorate it by putting a woman on top, and there'll be all kinds of trim and lace around that as well. And I think I've got, because she's sort of got a lavendery hat and a veil stretched across it, I made that one which is more lavendery, and so that could go on there. This one I put a little pearl, some tulle, some seam binding, and up here a piece of lace. So let me show you again. So this one has pearls, two pieces of tulle, two pieces of seam binding that I knotted, and at the very top some lace. And of course there's a pearl in the center. And this was some hand-dyed velvet ribbon that I used there. Also, I made a black one, which is very dramatic. And this one, this is going on something that I have in mind, which I don't have in front of me. But anyway, I did put some tulle, which, yep, there it is. There's the backing. I put some black tulle. I put just one leaf because it's a bigger leaf, and some ribbons, 4 ribbons, sari ribbons there. So that's pretty dramatic. It's actually not black, it's a very, very dark brown. So let's let me get them out again and show them to you one more time. This one is the one that I haven't completed, but I am going to put this sari ribbon on it. And this is the one I just made on the camera. And I've got this one for the box. And then this one for another box. They're quite dramatic. This is just one kind of velvet flower I make. So depending on the reception I get to these, if people like them, I'll show you some more. But I've taught classes in these in Australia and New Zealand. They've always been very popular. And once upon a time it was much easier to get the velvet. Now it's not so easy. Anyway, there they are. Very pretty. Not difficult, as you can see. And as I say, you can definitely use other materials. Maybe velour or something like that. But thank you for watching. This is Lila in Hawaii. Bye-bye.